My name is Sarah Hannify and I'm from County Galway. I play the viola and I sing in Irish and English, and I'm currently based out in Glasgow. Just finished the undergraduate degree at the Conservatoire out there. I like to incorporate bits of traditional music in with classical music, particularly with sean-nós songs and repertoire from the west of Ireland. I haven't been to the Duncairn before, but I've seen other artists that I know of performing here, and I'm aware of its social media presence online. So that's how I learnt about the open call. So a lot of my influences would come from orchestral and chamber music and classical music, as well as more contemporary artists in the traditional scene, like your Martin Hayes and Owen O'Callaghan, a few Scottish artists too, like Bríde Campbell. Being from County Galway, I have a lot of family connections to Connemara, and multiple grandparents of mine were fluent speakers in Irish. So I like to kind of source some of my repertoire back to where they were from, around Garumna and Lettermore, and kind of tie that into my own music. At the moment, I'm doing a fair amount of freelancing. I currently have an ensemble called the Solace Collective, which consists of like me on the viola, small pipes, and occasionally electronics added in as well, and looking at singing in Irish and in Scottish Gaelic as well, and focusing on blending the two cultures together, which is quite nice. There's a lot of similarities. I think the electronic edition is interesting, especially starting out. And there's a lot of, if you're looking at more modern contemporary classical music, you can definitely tie in and get your head around it a bit more. But it's looking a lot at soundscapes and not just viewing a song or a tune as just that, but incorporating it into a bigger piece. Yeah, we recently performed a concert that was completely improvised. Not just focusing around the idea of a tune or a song, but it ties with a lot of contemporary classical music, but still bringing in the soundscapes that you would associate more with Celtic music or Gaelic traditions and that sort of stuff. I'm looking at studying a master's in classical viola performance, because I aimed to keep both my classical and traditional music going at the same time, if I can, if they have me. But yeah, I think they definitely have elements to each other that can complement each other or work different parts of your musical brain almost. I think you find that you can use the same tools, you can have the same tools, but you're using them in very different ways. Just even, for example, listening, like how you would listen in a classical sense if you're working with others, can be a bit more holistically, but in traditional music, there's still that culture of learning music by ear. Which means that your muscle memory and your kind of oral skills need to be Very, very developed, I think. Yeah, so I think in the classical scene, it's a bit more common to stay in education a bit longer, to get kind of experience and look at new places. So it's yet to be decided where I'm heading, but I think there's a few cards on the table as to where I could end up.